Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. Sorry I had to take a little bit of a hiatus. There were some medical emergencies going on with the new cat, which I will fully get into, but welcome back. And not to say that I've changed or that the fame is getting to me or anything, but my life it's significantly different from when I started this podcast. I mean, just this morning alone, I've already had someone show up at my house, demanding to be on the podcast. They came into my house showing me their unlicensed merch they've made. And, does it make me feel a little frightened that people like this know where I live? Yes, but I'm not going to make any big changes. Probably won't move to Hollywood yet, but we'll see if it keeps happening. Anyway, today I thought it would be good to sit down and just talk. Just, have a chat like old friends do. Give a little life update because I've had a little bit of a crazy week, and yes, it has gotten in the way of my, podcast empire. So let's get into it. I know one of the main questions everyone is probably asking is, how is the new cat? I mean, 2 episodes ago, I dropped this huge bomb that I've adopted a cat and then never really said anything else about it. And I know everyone's probably going crazy. So, I mean, we had a little bit of a rough start. Some people would say it was not love at first sight, or that it was, but it was pretty much one-sided. So, I get the cat home. She's doing great, in my view. She's not hiding. She's wandering around. She's doing really well with my longtime dog and coworker and friend, Roscoe. They're getting along. They're not best friends, but they'll tolerate each other. And then I notice, I don't really think this cat is eating anything. She's not eating any of her dry foods. She's not eating anything out of the bowl. I mean, she's coming over here because she hears me talking about her, but mommy's podcasting. Anyway, she's not eating. So what do? I go to Target. It's 10 o'clock at night, and I barely leave the house, at normal time. So big deal. Millie, you can't be in this episode. Anyway, I'm in Target. I'm in the cat aisle. I buy 10 different kinds of cat food. I buy, the one that look like it was prepared by Gordon Ramsay himself. I buy the ones that look like something I would never want to eat in my entire life. And I buy I buy every variety of cat food because I'm doing a lot of research, and I'm like, well, either she's nervous, moving into a new house, maybe she doesn't like the food, or I mean, I even came to the conclusion she might be allergic to my dog. She might have feline asthma. I don't even know. I was like being a hypochondriac when you go on WebMD and then all of a sudden you're dying, but all you have is a cold. That I was pretty much projecting that onto the cat at this point. So after a few days, she starts to, she'll eat the cat soup stuff. She'll eat the liquid treats. But then she kind of stops eating that, and she's not really eating anything at this point. And I'm freaking out because I'm this cat is going on a hunger strike. She's I don't know if she's trying to kill herself. I don't know what she's doing. But I didn't want any part of it. I just wanted her to chill out. So we got her on Friday, and then on Wednesday, I'm okay, I have to take her to the vet. I want to see if anything's wrong. Looking down her throat, they're physically, there's absolutely nothing wrong with this cat. And I'm well, fantastic. I just paid $100 for a vet visit for them to say she's a little bitch. And then they're well, we should run a bunch of more tests. And I'm freaking out before we get to the vet. So I'm do it. Cut her open, do what you need to do. And they conclude that she's either okay. So the doctor, the vet man, comes in and shows us these cat x-rays, which are kind of funny, but and he's okay, so she's gassy. And I'm great, me too. What does that mean? So he says that she's either gassy because she hasn't eaten very well in about a week, or because she swallowed something. And I was like, okay, so you're telling me she won't eat, cat food, but she'll eat some random, a Q-tip I left on the countertop? Like what did she swallow? You can't see it on the x-ray. So after we're at the vet for 2 hours, he sends us home with a new pet food paste, and he's like, if she doesn't eat this and like perk up, then bring her back tomorrow and we'll like force feed her. Yeah, I also got a lesson on force feeding her, and I ended up having to wrap her in a burrito and shoot liquid food like down the back of her throat. And I swear to God, I could see her plotting my demise as this was happening. But, it had to be done. And mind you, before I took her to the vet, like I said, I went to Target. I got her 100 different types of food. She wasn't drinking her water. So I ordered a cat water fountain off of Amazon, set that up, got that pumping. No interest. I order her a new bed that she will not go in. I order her a window hammock. Like, I am trying to give this cat the most luxurious, happy life I can. And she is, doing a hunger strike and she wants no part of it. We finally leave the vet with the conclusion that she's gassy. And that's about it. And let me tell you, the vet visit was significantly more expensive than the $25 cat that I've had for 4 days. But I'm a mom now, so I guess that's what I get. That night, she immediately eats. Like, after we had to force feed her a little bit, which was awful. And then probably at like midnight that night, she just starts chowing down. And I'm like, you couldn't have done this like 12 hours earlier before we went to the vet. But I was just happy she was finally eating. And ever since then, she's been acting completely normal. She's been eating fine. Like, it's like nothing ever happened. So I guess that's good, even though it's a little bit annoying. Other than that, though, being a cat mom has been great. She's now loving her cat hammock. I don't know, like she's a cat. She's really cute. She'll sleep on my chest at night, and every time I move her because I'm like trying to go to bed, she scurries right back up on top. But at least she's eating now. And there's nothing like terminal about her. So that's very exciting. Overall, being a cat mom has been great. So along with this little life update, I thought I should do a little pop culture review. I thought that could be fun. So yesterday, I had the pleasure and honor of going to the local premiere of the new Elvis movie. Now I know what you're thinking. Ooh, local premiere. That's like a big deal. Did you get invited because of your podcast? When I say I went to the local premiere, I mean I was one of the 45 people that bought a ticket from the movie theater and went. It was not an exclusive event. But I did get to see the Elvis movie on the day it came out. I got to see Austin Butler, do his thing, and he was doing it. Let me tell you, he was doing his thing. I thought it was amazing. I mean, I don't want to spoil anything, even though, Elvis was alive, 50 years ago at this point. But it was a really good movie. Tom Hanks was, kind of weird in it. He kind of gave me bad vibes. But I thought Austin Butler was amazing. And he sang all of his own music in the film. And I mean, he sounded just like Elvis to me. I couldn't tell a difference. I'm also not like a mega fan or anything. I also learned so much about Elvis that I had absolutely no idea about. Like, he was really big into ending segregation, and like that was a huge part of why people didn't like him, which is amazing, but I had absolutely no idea about that. He is also the single most sold solo artist in the world, still to this day, which is incredible. I mean, in the film, they show that he was the first person to ever sell merchandise, and which, I mean, now people are knocking on my door begging me to make merchandise and making unlicensed versions, which, I mean, it's incredible. I never thought I would get to this point, especially not so quickly, but He was the first person to make merchandise, and he was also the first person to ever do like a remote concert, and 1.5 billion people went. I mean, that is insane. I didn't even know 1.5 people, but 1.5 billion people had like internet. Well, I don't know how they watched it. Probably on TV or something. But that would be insane for 1.5 billion people to go to an Ariana Grande concert now. Like, that's insane. I mean, I guess he's the king of rock and roll or whatever, so it makes sense. Overall, amazing movie. I mean, it was almost 3 hours long, so if you can stomach that, I would say go give it a watch. No, this is not sponsored by Austin Butler or the Elvis movie. They did not pay me to say this. I'm just doing a little free promo, I guess. I thought it was great. So thank you guys so much for sticking with me and coming back to support your favorite podcast. It means so much to me. Sorry, I've been so inconsistent. I mean, you probably understand now that I'm a single mother of two. I mean, being a mom comes first. So, had to take a few days off, but now I'm back. And thank you so much for your loyalty and for the support. Bye.